Welcome to the Root of Power podcast, where I teach you how to chase your joy, find alignment, and create a life and a business that you love, using actionable methods, interviews, and inspiring stories from people who know that true freedom is found within. I'm your host, your always hype woman and sometimes ass kicker, Amanda Chills, and I am so proud of you for choosing to step into your power. Come along, we've got dreams to build. Hello, Root of Power fam. We have got Precious Carter with us, and I suspect she is going to be so fun. She is a serial entrepreneur, speaker, teacher, trainer, edutainer, probably educates and entertains at the same time. So I can't wait for this conversation. How are you?
I'm good. I like that word, edutainer. I might have to take it and add it to my repertoire. I like that.
I stole it from Angie Lee.
Okay.
So I'll give her credit, but I was like, yes, we love that. So I'm gonna
I like that. I like that. How are you?
I am good, man. I've had a good Friday.
Me too.
I'm gonna have pizza and play dominoes after this.
Oh.
I know.
I'm gonna lay on my couch and have pizza. So sounds like a plan.
We'll be pizza bays.
Pizza partners.
Pizza bays together.
Right.
So how did you start your first business? What was your first business? And what do you do now?
Okay. So honestly, I actually had this conversation with my partner last night. My first business was doing all the kids' hair in the neighborhood in my shack in Dayton, Ohio. Honestly, I pretty much believe I was born an entrepreneur. I mean, I had the freaking ice ball stands, the lemonade stands, and then I realized I knew how to curl hair and nobody else did. I was like 8 or 9 years old and I started curling hair and braiding hair. But on into adulthood, I've always been entrepreneurial. Even before I was an entrepreneur, I would always do consulting on the side just because people thought that I knew things that I really didn't know how I knew. But fast forward into when I was in nursing school, actually, I'm an LPN by trade. And so I was in my registered nursing program and I failed a class. And when I failed that class, I was like, okay, I'll take it again. But if I fail it again, I'm going to write a book. And I failed it again. So
the universe was like, no,
literally I wrote a book. And when I wrote that book, I talked about a lot of the childhood traumas that I faced. My story is I was born in prison, so I didn't have a mom and a dad. So I spent a lot of time bouncing from home to home. I dealt with a lot of abuse and neglect, and I was homeless at a certain point. And as I wrote my book, I started to give some prayer points and some specific details on how I overcame some of the things that had happened in my life that probably would have killed most people. And as a result of that, as people were reading my book, people started inboxing me and asking me questions and asking if I could help them.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And then I was always afraid to make the leap into full-time entrepreneurship because I had a good paying job with good benefits and my life. I lived my life the way that I wanted to live. But I was always feeling stuck. And I actually, at a certain point, I felt like my job was getting in the way of my real life. And so it's okay, I can't do this anymore. So 2020 came and I had set an out date. I call it an out date, because I was in prison, right?
Yeah.
So it was March 16th. And then March is when we started talking about this pandemic. I'm like, I can't quit my job now. But I was even more miserable because I'm like, this can't be right.
Yeah.
So I finally set a date in September and I announced it to the world on Facebook, the world being my little 2,000 friends I had at the time.
Whole world.
I announced it. And that night, a therapist that I know, we had actually worked together and we were both in direct care. She said, I want you to be my life coach. I was like, okay, yay. First client, full-time entrepreneur. Then the next day, she was like, no, I changed my mind. I'm like, ooh, boo. She was like, no, I want you to coach for everybody in my practice. And so literally immediately, I had 50 new clients,
I'm sorry, how many?
50. 50. So immediately, obviously my salary was replaced. And that's how it started.
That alignment.
Yeah. So that's how it all started for me. And then from there, it just has really blossomed. I now own 3 different companies that are profitable. I started my speaking and teaching and training. And so everything's going really well. And it all started with just making a decision and saying yes. So
yeah. As it does, right? I find that like, are you familiar with like manifestation or law of attraction?
Absolutely.
So once you decide something is for you, it's like the universe conspires to work for you, right? And if you,
It does.
and the flip side, if you decide something is not for you, the universe conspires to give you what you asked for.
Right.
And I find that is true for it's true. It's whatever.
True.
It's a universal law. Like I'm not gonna say it's true for so many people because it's true for everyone. Like when you take that step, the universe is like, it's like she's been waiting for you. And she's like, here's all of those dreams that you're now stepping into, but like you have to decide to step into them.
You do.
I love that for you.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I think that I start with every client that I work with, even like when I'm doing my live videos and doing things for free, the thing that I think that people have to get comfortable with is getting back to who you are as a person, finding that inner child, not the child that was traumatized or abused or neglected, but the child that was not afraid to dream. Like the child that was like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And then really start to question yourself as to what it is that you really want and allow yourself to believe that. And the more that you believe it and get crystal clear on it, you can start to actually go towards that. Because right now I feel like because many of us have broken out of the box, but we were born into this world that has these systems in place that really kind of keep us in bondage. And they make us think that we can only go so far. Even if we choose to stay in corporate America, as women, we have this glass ceiling that some of us can't shatter. And so we don't even try. And so because we don't try, we don't become the gift that we are to the people that need us to be who we were put on the earth to be. So we have to get really clear and allow ourselves to dream and allow ourselves to hope and quit not hoping and dreaming because you're afraid that it won't happen. You know, that holds so many of us back.
I just need everyone to replay everything you just said. Like, just go back about 1 minute.
Yeah.
And replay it. You're so right. Like, people don't, because they get broken down, because the systems are in place for a reason, right? Now, then you compound that with if you're a person of color, if you're female, if you're trans, if you're gay, if you're any of the
not a white man
groups,
right?
Like if you're not a straight white dude, like,
right.
So those systems are in place for a reason,
right?
But it doesn't mean they can't be overcome, right? You are quite literally proof that it can.
Right.
So if one person can do it, and I was just talking to my last interview about how sometimes the things we go through have everything we go through has its place, right?
Right.
But perhaps we go through hell to turn around and create a roadmap. So someone can say, I'm currently in hell and I would like to get out. And you're like, bet, I got you.
Right. I tell people all the time, like you know how, I don't know how often you've heard this, but I've heard it. And I'm sure many of us has heard, who do you think you are, God's gift to the earth? It's like, well, yeah, actually.
Now that you mention it.
Now that you mention it, I am. And
Thank you for recognizing.
Really, like, I believe it for everybody. Like, we are all here for a specific reason. And there is a specific group of people that needs us to blaze the path for them, to blaze the trail for them, you know, to find the path, to be the trailblazer, to be the pathfinder, to help them get out of themselves what it is that they need to get out so that they too can become the gift that they were created to be. Right. We each have an answer for somebody. Like, we're here for something. And it's not just to, even a person who, because a lot of times people think my message is strictly for people who want to be entrepreneurs, but no, because, you know, women, like, I can speak for women, I can speak for Black women, right? We have all of these gifts and talents. We have the ability to take anything that you give us, to multiply it, to nurture it, and to make it better. But even when we're thinking about inside of our relationships or inside of corporate America or even in our community, like, there has always been this like unwritten rule that we have to stay in our place. True. We should stay in our place, but we have to recognize what our place is. We have to really understand that, as like, if we believe in Genesis and Adam and Eve, and we have to understand what it means to be a help. And that is a very powerful word. That means that I assist you and I am a strong tower behind you. I am a force to be reckoned with. I cover you. I protect you. I push you, and you really can't move without me.
Yeah.
I really truly believe that women have to come into the knowledge of what it is that we were here to do. We are we coexist on this earth. We're not beneath anybody. We're not
Yeah.
behind anybody, but we have been tricked to believe that. And so that's why I believe society doesn't move forward with truth, power, and love. Because what brings the truth, the power, and the love is so busy being subverted up under a male that really is needing us to step up and be who it is that we are called to be.
Yeah.
Whether that's at work, whether that's in our relationships, when we're quiet and we don't say what it is that we see and we don't speak what it is that we want to see, then we actually hinder our counterparts, whether it's other women, whether it's men or our children, because we are afraid of being rejected. But the truth of it is we're here to speak truth to power. We're here to break down systems that have come to put us in bondage, not only as women, but as groups of people. Like that is what we're here for. We are bondage breakers. But until we get into the mindset that we're no longer going to be in bondage, then the world stays in bondage because we're stuck. So,
and I find too, not speaking up puts yourself in bondage, because now you're quite literally shackled by fear.
Absolutely.
Because what's the worst thing that happens? They leave. Oh no. Oh, someone who doesn't want to hear what I have to say. Oh.
And then the worst thing that happens is when you don't say it, when you have something to say and you don't say it, that, we don't say things and we don't do things for the sake of peace, but really it's just we're afraid of conflict.
Right.
Because there literally, if I have something to say, or if I see something is wrong, or I see something is unjust, or I see something like someone being mistreated and I don't speak, there is a war that goes on inside of me.
Yeah.
I have no peace. I can't sleep.
Yeah, there's
I'm
no peace.
Totally unhappy. There's none. So it's like we have been trained to think that we're doing that for peace, but we're not. We're doing it because we don't want to argue. Right. The truth of it is nothing changes without being challenged. There was a quote that I read that I've never known an extraordinary woman who was well behaved. So stop being well behaved.
And I find too, so I work with a lot of people in boundaries work, and essentially what we're talking about, right? And they always say to me, because they're so sweet, they say, well, I don't want to be mean. And I'm like, well, I don't want you to be mean either. That's not the point. I want you to be honest. You can speak up in a kind way. And sometimes speaking up is kind, because not everybody knows what they're doing wrong, right? We're not omniscient. We all have our blind spots. So it is so much more unkind, one, to allow someone to mistreat you. First of all, no, that's not kind. But for someone to not speak up and then they feel resentful over something the other person doesn't even know what they're doing wrong. Absolutely. That's not kind either. So I'm like, I don't want you to be mean. I don't want you to be an asshole. That's not the point of speaking up. The point of speaking up is so you say, hey, this is good with me. This is not good with me, which is infinitely more kind than saying nothing and just going about your life pissed off.
Right. You know what happens when you go about your life like that? Like you have a problem, or you don't like the way someone treats you or speaks to you, but you don't speak it. And so first off, you are afraid of losing that person. So you need to deal with that spirit of rejection and abandonment that you're dealing with. But number two, eventually you are either going to blow up at them and it's going to be wrong on your behalf because you never communicated the problem that you had. Or you're just going to totally retract and end the relationship. And that's completely unfair because, as you said, sometimes people don't even know what they're doing or what they're not doing is bothersome to you because you never took the time to open up your mouth and tell them. And it's really selfish, in all honesty. It's a very prideful thing. We're full of pride and we think everybody knows and we think everybody should know what you know or should think what you think. But in all honesty, you have the responsibility to be true to yourself and to be true to that relationship. It's your responsibility.
Yeah. And people don't know, right? Because what I think is normal is not everybody's normal. It's just normal to me. If I grew up in a house that speaks Spanish, well, yeah, I'm probably going to assume everybody speaks Spanish. Right. But if people don't speak Spanish, I'm like, oh, damn. I don't think they're stupid. They just grew up speaking another language. And relationships are like that. And businesses are like that. You have to learn to run one business one way and another business another way. And your customers are different here and your partners are different here. And it's like learning how to communicate what you need when you need it.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. Life-saving.
Absolutely. It's a game changer. It's so freeing. When you actually learn to love you nobody's going to accept you or love you until you accept you or love you. Because you don't even allow yourself to get to know you until you let go of the fear of human beings. Like, they're just other people just like you. What's the worst they can do? Okay, not like you. Maybe they even might want to put their hands on you or yell at you or cuss at you. Yeah. So what? You're not going to die. Yeah. I mean, you got people who take it too far. You do have people who take it too far.
Sometimes you do die.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, even if then, like Tupac said, a coward dies 1,000 deaths, a soldier dies but once. I want to be a soldier. Let me tell you, you're going to get to know me. I'm going to tell you what the problems is that I'm having, and I want you to tell me, because I want to honor you and respect you where you are.
Right.
If you're in a relationship with me, I value our relationship, and so I want to respect the boundary of it, and I want to keep our relationship safe. And that's what boundaries do. They keep things safe.
Period. We love this. We love this conversation. Boundaries are one of my favorite things to talk about. I'm like in the end process of developing a course right now for helping people overcome people pleasing. And I'm just like, boundaries, with like some other things sprinkled in, but like a huge, obviously, core tenet of that is boundaries.
Absolutely.
And it's so simple. Once people, like, it's not, boundaries can be they can feel very hard to set if they're new, but anything that's new is hard, right? But they're very, very simple to set. Hey, I like when you do this. I don't like when you do this. And relationships get better because, like you said, people who choose to be in a relationship with you probably want it to be good. Right. And if they don't, you're going to find out real quick. And then you did yourself a favor, because now you know their true intentions.
Right.
And if they ain't good, we set another boundary and we say, oh, you actually can't exist anywhere near me.
Right.
So sorry, fuck off. Like,
deuces. Like,
yeah. I hope you live your miserable life away from me, because I cannot do it. So we love boundaries. I will die on so many hills, but one of them is boundaries are self-preservation.
Absolutely. Boundaries is like one of the things. Boundaries and vision are my thing, because like, not only, first off, do you have to, because a lot of times when people please, it's because they were taught to. And they think that they should. Like, little girls are taught to be subservient and please and make sure everybody's happy and well taken care of. And honestly, there's no issue with that. But there has to be balance, and there has to be a clear set of guidelines that you are allowed to be in my life by.
Right.
And if you can't abide by, and my thing is, you got to communicate that boundary, and you have to communicate what happens if you don't honor my boundary. And the hardest part for people pleasing is not the communication of the boundary and not the communication of the consequence. But then if somebody does it, the hardest thing for people pleaser are following through, making sure that boundary stays enforced, making sure that you're like, hey, you're getting close to that line. Hey, you're okay. Yeah. You crossed the line too many times.
And I will hit you with a chainsaw.
and when you are trained to please people, and when you really haven't dealt with the thing that makes you want to please people, that is it's a very difficult thing.
Yeah. And like, the big heart is not the problem, right? Like, you want to help people, you want to make people happy, not the issue. That you sacrifice your life, your happiness, your peace, your integrity to do it is the problem. And you want to talk about like having to have boundaries. Welcome to entrepreneurship, because it will eat you alive.
Yes, it will.
It will eat you alive if you don't have them. So what are the businesses that you run? So you do you can just tell us, what do you do?
Okay. So I do some mentoring and consulting and coaching for business. Awesome. Many of what I found, I started off with helping people with anxiety and depression. Obviously they were in therapy, but what I found is like everybody had a passion and a dream that they were afraid to chase. And so actually going through that helped me to kind of tailor my program into entrepreneurship. I teach entrepreneurship, vision, and boundaries.
So cool.
All in one course. So that's one. I have an Amazon delivery service, a company that I have 50 people that work for me. And basically we deliver packages. That business generates $3 million. We have the sprinters. So we have 2 luxury sprinters. One is like an 8-passenger. One is a 2-passenger. We have an investment group. One of my partners, we have an IV hydration lounge, a scrub store, and a group home in Cincinnati. So
what?
I think I named them all. Yeah.
Are the sprinters through like Turo?
Oh, we do have Turo. Thank you. We have that
One more.
is how. Yeah, Turo. Turo was a
Oh,
door opener for me. It
holy shit.
actually helped me to start making money that I could actually like take my hands off of some things when it came
Mm-hmm.
to because I used to have a full time. Actually, my partners now. Oh, a restaurant. I just bought the restaurant in April. So my partners and I have a restaurant, but before I was their partner, I was their business manager.
Yeah.
And so I was managing the investment company, I was managing the renovation company. And then as time went on, like our relationship developed into a partnership.
Yeah.
So we have a conference. It's called the Building Wealth Conference. And we teach people how to start with Turo and Airbnb and
Yeah.
credit and business funding, like all the things that we needed and all the things that we learned along the way
Mm-hmm.
to become successful entrepreneurs. We teach that once a year at a conference. We bring in experts from all over because we're not like we know stuff, but we're not experts in everything. And so we want
Right.
people to have the opportunity to learn from experts.
Okay.
That's
I
it.
feel so lazy.
That's it. Like I had to think
I
like,
run one business.
sheesh. That's a lot though.
Yeah. Okay. But you do a lot. What's the restaurant that you just bought?
It's called JoJo Fish and Chicken. It's in Cincinnati, and it's a fish and chicken joint. So we sell fried chicken, fried fish, gyros.
That's so
We
cool.
have the best macaroni and cheese and greens in the city.
Legit. Okay.
Absolutely, we do. I stand behind that 100%. We
Cool.
cannot keep up with the demand. And
Which one is the most fun?
Amazon. No, I would have to say speaking, like coaching and
Yeah.
speaking, because I just get to like come to a room and
Yeah.
talk to people.
Like pour into them.
Like I just get to
So
like
cool.
I'm my most best self when I can just come in and like be me. And
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything
Heard.
else. And
As
you know what I
everybody
mean?
else is.
Right. Like that's
Yeah.
it. But I would say aside from that, I love my PSC Unlimited is my Amazon delivery company. And I have 50 of the most amazing people that work for me there. And I get to coach them, train them, teach them, mentor them. And, you know, sometimes I go out and drive a truck and it's cool. Like, because that's my downtime.
I
When I go out.
didn't know Amazon did that. I thought they had all their own like Amazon. So I live in a kind of a rural area. So we have like, obviously like UPS, FedEx, the mail, and then it's always like an Amazon truck.
Right. So nobody who delivers packages for Amazon works for Amazon. They work for people like me. Amazon has thousands of partners, probably hundreds. Thousands is a lie. Hundreds of partners across the country called delivery service partners. And we sign contracts with Amazon. We lease the trucks, the branded vehicles, and then we hire and train people. And then we bill Amazon and they pay us. Like, you know, it's just a small business. Like, and it's
a small
like,
business.
It is,
There's
and it's
50
amazing
that
to
generates
be able
$3 million a year. So small.
It is, but you know what? You get to help so many people. Like I give people, and I pay my drivers well. They have great benefits, and it's just a blessing because I never thought that I would be in a position like born in prison, was homeless at one point in time, didn't think I was going to graduate high school, and now I probably have a total of 70 people working for me, and it's really amazing. Like to see that.
Yeah.
Literally just making a decision and following through, making a decision and getting clear that where I am is not where I want to be. And so I have to align myself with this vision that I have, and I have to partner with the Holy Spirit to get there. And literally there is nothing impossible. Nothing.
That's amazing.
If I can do it, anybody, trust me, anybody can do it.
You know, something I tell myself all the time is a mix of like, you're not special and other people do it. Like, I'm not special, meaning like there's no reason why if other people can do something, oh, I'm so special that I can't. Like everyone is special, but you're not the outlier. Like other people do it, right? You run multiple. Okay, first of all, that's amazing. Like, holy shit. You run multiple businesses that sound like they're ethically based, that sound like you put people first, that sound like one of your values is like investing in your people, which as a side note, I think the upcoming generation of entrepreneurs, like millennials and younger now, are like really reinvesting in employees and like understanding that like owning a business is a public service, quite literally. And I am so excited for that. I'm like, get all these old motherfuckers out of here who are like profits over everything. Fuck you. Get out of here. Like, give me these people who invest in their human beings, in their heartbeats, right? So we just love that. But other people do it. Like, you do multiple things. You do it well. You have a good team. Like, why can't other people do it? Right? Other than like, they don't believe they can, they don't have the resources currently, but you can find resources. Like, all of those things are findable. And I love interviewing people like you who do things, right? Like, this podcast is free. Okay. It costs our time, but like 100%, it's always worth it for me. Like, I love this
Absolutely.
shit. But people can learn, you know? And it's like, I just love hearing stories of people who are like, yeah, I'm not special. Like, I just learned, I committed to doing it, and I found people who are smarter than me.
Period. And people who are willing to work with you. Like, you just said something that was so key. A team is so important. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
I have the most amazing group of people around me. And I think the thing that really sets most people apart is, number one, getting in the right environment. And then secondly, getting around the right people. It's just like a plant. It's just like a seed. I cannot plant a cactus seed in my backyard and think it's going to grow. It doesn't have the right nutrients. It's not going to get what it needs. And so me and my entrepreneurial self, I did not thrive in well, that's a lie. I did always thrive in corporate America, but it's because I was able to use my mind and find different strategies that other people couldn't find. So
but how much better are you now?
America. Oh my God. It's like, I remember when I first started like full-time entrepreneurship, I had no time. Like, I literally, but I was more satisfied working 24 hours a day than I ever was working 5 or 6 hours a day.
Entrepreneurs are the only people who work 100 hours a week to avoid working 40. And I'm like, give me the 100 hours
every day.
I don't care.
Absolutely. And it's so worth it. But then as you grow and you get to the point where you understand, because the struggle for me was getting help. But once you understand, like, getting a team around you, getting people who are just as bought into the vision as you, and letting everybody work where they want to work, letting everybody do what they want to do, you're going to take off. Because if I'm passionate about what I'm doing, I'm going to do it. I can't go to sleep. I'm like, oh, I just thought about, and I'm going to really put my time into it versus me saying, hey, I need you to do this, Amanda. And you're like, okay, I'll do it, but I don't really want to do it. Then that area is not going to grow. But when you find people, you find their talent, and you find where it is that they're going to be the most happy, and you put them there, your businesses take off. I have a new assistant for just my speaking and my coaching. Nevada, Miss Morgan, you probably talked to her. She has my calendar so full. I'm like, girl, hold on. Like, did you forget to put this on my calendar? But she literally has a speaking.
You told her to get you.
And podcasting everywhere. And she's asked me to do it for many years. And I'm like, no, like, I don't want you working for me. I want you to follow your dream. And like,
she's like, that is my dream. I'm trying to tell you.
It is. And I'm like, oh my God. I told her today, like, I'm so sorry I told you no. Like, like,
I'm glad she was like persistent.
Yeah, like for years I told her no. And then I was like, okay, fine. And I'm like, whoa, I should have said this years ago, So absolutely. So I think that's what you have to do. You have to develop a team, and you got to know, like, she used to be one of my clients. And the main thing that I said to her over and over again, like, it's not that hard. Nothing is that hard. Quit letting your mind tell you it's that hard. It's not that hard. Just do it. Take one step. And then your foot is automatically going to take the next one. Like, it's not that hard. Go. Like, go.
I was just telling a client this week, I said, you don't have to know the whole staircase. You don't have to see the whole staircase. You have to have your little headlamp hat with just like the next staircase. That's the only thing that you need. The next step, not the full thing. And you're going to get there. There's 1,000 ways to climb a mountain. Keep fucking walking.
Keep going. And just don't get discouraged. Like you said earlier, like the words that we speak and the thoughts that we think, they are going to attract what comes next to us. And so before you open up your mouth to say a negative word, be quiet and think about something that you can be thankful for and focus on that. Come back after your mind is clear and start to ask for a strategy, ask for insight, ask for understanding, ask for information, and you're going to get it. Because in all honesty, like, you are designed to succeed. You are designed to win. Like, you came here with a purpose, but it's the programming of this world that has made us think and do otherwise, because we're so inundated with negative imagery, negative words, so much pressure. We're on these things all day long, and all you see is negativity. And it's just like, come on, like, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your talent, and you're wasting your treasure. Go out there and do what you want to do. Be an impact, make an impact in the world.
Yeah.
Quit playing. Let's go.
I just need everyone to replay this episode multiple times.
Let's go.
Yes. So where do people start? So for you, they start with vision. So I assume the question is, what do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want?
And like, literally in my programs, when I try to stay away from one-on-one clients now, because I am a person that gets so invested that when you don't do it, I'm like, why? You said you wanted it. I get too like,
you're a liar.
But yeah, like, quit lying to yourself and quit wasting my time. But honestly, I spend more time on that first, like, writing your vision. What is it that you want? Even like for everything. So like, if you say you wanted to make a coaching program, okay, what do you want me to get out of it? What do you want me to look like? Where are you taking me from? Where are you taking me to? What do you expect? And I want you to be so crystal clear on it that by the time you actually get to write it, it flows out of you.
It's written,
because you know everything. So when I'm talking about the vision for your life, it's really making your breakfast for you already. Do you want to wake up because you smell bacon or coffee? Or do you want to wake up because you smell lavender because you sprayed your pillow?
Yeah.
Do you want to get down on your knees immediately and pray, or do you want to go to the gym to work out? Like, I want you to get so crystal clear on your vision that by the time we finish writing it out and fleshing it out and speaking it to each other and repeating it, that you believe it, because it takes that level of belief. And then once you believe it, once we're done with it, I'm like, now pick one thing, and let's do that today. And we're doing that one thing consistently as we're going through the coaching program, and we're checking in. And by the end of it, you're sold out, and you don't really need me anymore. Like, you know what I mean? And that's the goal. Like, the goal is to multiply yourself into other people. But you don't want to multiply your negativity, right? Like, I think it's important that even we as coaches and mentors, we need coaches and mentors that help us to stay into alignment, because it's easy in this world to get caught up in all the stuff the BS that's going on around us. Like, and it's easy for us to go through something like in our marriage or with our children or with our businesses or our jobs, that it can kind of sidetrack us or knock the wind out of us. So we all have to have someone, in my opinion, to keep us grounded and to keep us focused and to like snap us back into it, because like we got work out here to do. Yeah. You know, and we can't do it without being whole. So
and then we come back to community, right? Like something that I find, and perhaps for you as well. So my family is Cuban. My dad's from Cuba, and my mom is from Illinois. She's very white. And the difference, and she's very white. She's from a farm in Illinois. The difference, though, between growing up in a Caribbean family, like, because I grew up in Florida with a lot of my dad's family. My mom's family, her parents lived in Florida, but really that was the only family she had down there. So we spent most of our time family-wise with the Cubans, who are so community, so do anything for you. And a stranger never walks into their home. They're immediately feeding you. Of course you can stay. My house is always open for you. Whatever you need. We'll give you the shirt off your back. We'll give you the last fruit from their tree, whatever. Like, everything I have is yours. It always will be. Contrasting that with like people who are so disconnected from community and the amount, like the overwhelming loneliness that they feel. So I live in North Carolina now, and it really took me moving to North Carolina to be exposed to people who have no community. Even their own family is their. Wow. And, you know, because I do therapy, like obviously there's, you know, a certain subset, like they tend to be very isolated anyways. But the difference in like culture and community is night and day. And it's so lonely and it's so overwhelming. And then you get in this negative space because you don't have someone to say, hey, yeah, maybe life is really bad for you right now, but I'll sit with you. Like, I may not be able to fix it, but I'll sit with you for a while until you're ready to get up and then we can go, and, or I'll help you. And so much of it, of entrepreneurship, of happiness, of hitting your goals, is like finding your people, which you can't do if you're not honest, if you're not clear about who you are, because then you're always with the wrong people because energetically you're blocked.
Absolutely.
And so much of it is community. And you spoke about it. So I know that's something you've really had to intentionally build. Like, were you always good at building community, or is that something you had to learn?
I think that I was always good at gathering people, right? But I think the thing that you said that was so important, and it kind of is like what I said, it's like the community. So there's one thing to be around just humans, right?
Yeah.
But if you are not around the group of people that's going to feed you, I love the way you said that your family was like, there was never a stranger and they fed you. So
immediately you're walking in and they're like, would you like rice and beans? And you're like,
right.
Always yes.
Right. Always yes. Yes.
Please.
Always yes.
Put it in a bowl. I'm eating it.
Yes. But I think it's important, like, to be nurtured and fed, even and not just from a physical standpoint, but like, you have to be around people that are going to feed your spirit, that are going to feed your passion, that are going to not just feed you junk, but give you what you need in order to nourish you and sustain you and push you to do what it is that you need to do. Because I can be around people. I can, like, right now, I can pick. I have 100. I'm not going to tell you how many messages I have. Okay, that of people who want to be around me, because obviously, like, when you're a good person and you're well intended and you treat everyone well, people want to be around you.
Yeah.
But you have to understand there are different types of people, and the people that you want to be around are those that are going to be on the same path as you. Not to say that you negate or you black out anyone else, but to say that your community, your base, it has to be people who are in alignment with you.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be thrown off track. There's an old saying that people said, birds of a feather flock together. So if you're flocking with people that are going north for the winter, my phone. Okay. You don't want to go north for the winter if you are a bird that needs warmth. Yeah. And so you have to be very careful with who you're giving your time and your energy to, because everybody who wants to be around you, or even everybody who you want to be around, it just isn't good for you. Yeah. You just need to attain different levels of wisdom and discernment in order to make the best choices for you.
You just talk and I'm just like, yes, we love everything that you say. I actually love that phrase. So birds of a feather flock together is half of it. The second half is until the cat comes. And it's a warning about fair weather friends. So exactly what you're saying. If people aren't going to call you on your BS, if they're not going to actually lift you and feed you and support you, they're not your people.
I got to write that whole quote. Birds of a feather flock together until the cat comes.
Until the cat
heard
comes.
That B clause.
Yep. There's another one. So I have a thing with like quotes that are misquoted. So the other one that I think you'll appreciate is blood is thicker than water. The whole quote is actually the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, meaning your found family, I know, is so much more powerful than your chosen family.
Oh my God.
Right?
I'm writing that one too.
Yeah.
And the water of the womb.
The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Yeah.
Sheesh.
And it's crazy how you shorten it and it means the opposite, right?
And
the opposite, it's like, oh, family over everything. But like, just because someone's related to you or in your space doesn't mean that they have a strong bond. And it doesn't mean that they're good for you. And it doesn't mean that you have to allow them in your life. We just love this. So, thank you.
That's powerful.
So if people are like, Precious, I need to exchange energy with you because I want to be like the people who I exchange energy with, right? How do they find you?
I make it super easy to find me. You can get on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can Google me. I am Precious S. Carter everywhere. PreciousSCarter.com, info@PreciousSCarter.com. Sorry.
We love that.
I have my phone on Do Not Disturb and somehow somebody got through anyway. But just Precious S. Carter. Precious S. Carter. There is another Precious Carter. It's not me.
You're the one with the S.
I'm the one with the S, and you can find me I'm everywhere. Like, you can find me.
That's amazing.
I respond to messages. I get a lot of messages, so it takes me a while sometimes, but I respond to all of my messages personally. I answer all types of questions. I give away a ton of free content on social media. If you want to work with me, I'm just about to reopen my group coaching program. I hadn't done it for a couple of years because I've been busy.
Yeah, but, clearly.
Just because there is such a demand, we'll be opening that up. I was thinking July, but I'm thinking now August because I know that once we do the conference, there'll be more people that want to join. So
that makes sense. Yeah.
But you can always find me. I have a podcast, Precious Moments Live. It's on all the places, Spotify,
everywhere.
Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher. You can find me if you're looking for me. I'm here. I'm out here. Like, yeah.
Everything will be linked for you as well. So this is just so good. So if people go through our episode and they suddenly get amnesia and they forget everything we talk about and they're only going to remember this one thing, what would that one thing be?
It's not that hard. Like, whatever it is that you want, somebody else did it, and it's not that hard. And I think that if you can let go of the fear of failure, life opens up for you. And if you can let go of the fear of people, it's a game changer. Yeah. It's a game changer. It's a game changer. I just want people to break free from their mental bondage. That's it.
I just need you to do like these lives in these like leather bondage outfits. Like, we just need it. Fabulous. Yeah. Thank you so much for pouring into us for the last hour. Like, you are a gem.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad that we connected. This was really a fun conversation too.
It was fun.
And thank you for finishing quotes. Like, I literally have that thing like on scripture. I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, you trying to be holy and you don't even know what it says. And that's why you're in bondage now. So yeah. I appreciate you finishing those. Like, that's, yeah. I'm going to, like, as I'm laying on the couch, I'm going to look up those quotes and I'm going to be like, that
Please
is
do.
So
they're called, I think they're called there's like a word for phrases that get shortened wrong. It's like a malindrome, or maybe I'm thinking palindrome. There's a word for them, but there's a few other ones too. Like, curiosity killed the cat and satisfaction brought it back.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
So if you love what you're curious about, it's totally fine and life is good. So yeah, there's a few of them. If you look them up, you're going to be like, damn, she knew what she was talking about.
I appreciate it.
So everyone go look them up. Dude, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.